I'd like to welcome everyone to the hearing today. The meeting is called to order at 9:30 a.m. Today's proceedings are being held as a hybrid meeting by way of in-person attendance and teleconference to hear minor variance applications PLMV 2025-067 and PLMV 2025-076. The Committee of Adjustment is appointed by council to consider applications for minor variances to the zoning bylaw pursuant to Section 45 of the Planning Act. Pursuant to Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, a minor variance may be granted provided it meets the four tests, namely that the variance meets the general intent of the official plan and the zoning bylaw, that is minor in nature, and that is desirable for the appropriate development and use of the land, building, or structure. A Planning Act requires that a public hearing be held before the Committee of Adjustment decides whether or not to approve a minor variance. The public hearing serves two purposes. First, to present to the Committee of Adjustment and public the details and backgrounds to the application, and second, to receive comments from the public and agencies before a decision is made. As part of the transparent public process, all submissions form part of the public record. Both the Secretary Treasurer and myself, as the chair of the committee for today, will be responsible to ensure that all parties and the committee members can hear one another during the meeting. For those attending by teleconference, if at any time you are having difficulties hearing what is being said, please say so or click the raise hand button or dial *9 on your phone. We kindly ask that everyone speak slowly and clearly when addressing the committee. If you are of the opinion that holding the hearing as an electronic hearing is likely to cause significant prejudice, we ask that you advise this committee at the earliest opportunity and the matter can be addressed accordingly. Please be advised that any applicant or agent that is in attendance at today's meeting for a specific application may leave the meeting once their application has been considered by the committee. Any applicant, agent, or member of the public wishing to address the committee for a specific application is reminded that presentations may be limited to 10 minutes per person. If you are using a computer or electronic device, please ensure that your microphone is turned on and your audio settings are not muted. All parties will be verbally acknowledged before being asked to proceed. At this time, I ask that anyone who objects to an electronic hearing or a matter on today's agenda or is having difficulty hearing what is being said, please click raise the hand button or dial *9. We're all good. The committee will first adopt the agenda. Would the Secretary Treasurer please read the resolution?
Through the chair, a move by John Agut, seconded by Jean Neville. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves the agenda of the August 25th, 2025 meeting as circulated. Yep. To be voted on.
All those in favor? That is carried. Do any committee members have a pecuniary interest in the applications being heard today? No problems. Adoption of the minutes. There are minutes to be approved for the February 24th, 2025 meeting. Does the committee have any comments or questions about those minutes? No questions raised. Would the Secretary Treasurer please read the resolution?
Moved by Honoree Tall, seconded by Jean Neville. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves the meeting minutes of the February 24th, 2025 meeting as circulated.
All those in favor? That is carried. All right, the important stuff. I now declare that this is a public hearing for application PLMV 2025-067, located in Park Lot 14 and 15, Concession 11, Geographic Township of Letterworth. Would the planner please summarize the proposed variance and any correspondence received to date regarding this application?
Through the chair, the township is in receipt of minor variance application PLMV 2025-067. This was submitted by property owners John and Lisa Thompson for the property having municipal address 1039 Little Bob Lake Road. The property is currently developed with a dwelling and attached deck as well as a detached garage. The owners wish to construct a sleeping cabin, which is intended to meet all provisions of the zoning bylaw, except that it is proposed to be located somewhat closer to the street than the dwelling. The applicants require relief from the township zoning bylaw, more specifically from section 4.1.13, subsection 4, to permit the proposed sleeping cabin to be located closer to the front of the, to be located to the front of the principal dwelling. This application is subject to the 4 tests of a minor variance as outlined by the Planning Act. The first test is the application minor in nature. When assessing whether the application is minor, consideration must relate to the potential impacts of the variance requested. The proposed sleeping cabin would maintain a 233-meter setback from the front lot line, well exceeding the minimum requirements and eliminating any potential impacts on traffic or sight lines from the road. Combined with the mature vegetation on the property, no adverse impacts to neighboring properties or the road are anticipated. The sleeping cabin would also be more than 30 meters from an existing hydrologic feature, so there's no anticipated negative impact to the condition of the pond, its hydrologic function, or surrounding natural area. The application is therefore found to be minor in nature. The second test is the application desirable for the appropriate development or use of the land, building, or structure. The application will enable the expanded use of the property for rural residential uses which are permitted. The proposed location of the sleeping cabin is already disturbed, having been prepared for the existing dwelling and detached garage, and therefore requires little site alteration. All setback requirements are being met by the proposed location. Therefore, the application is found to be desirable for the appropriate development and use of the land and building. The third test, does the application uphold the general intent and purpose of the official plan? The subject property is designated waterfront and rural on Schedule A to the township's official plan, with Little Bob Lake recognized as being at capacity. The existing and proposed development are not considered to impact lake capacity or health, however, given that they exceed 300 meters from the lake and are otherwise located within the rural designated lands. Policies of the rural designation encourage development to preserve the rural character and open natural landscape of the countryside. The policy direction is reinforced on the subject lands by the large lot size and significant setbacks. The application is therefore considered to uphold the general intent and purpose of the official plan. The final test is the application uphold the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. The subject property is zoned shoreline residential. Zoned shoreline residential on Schedule 14 of the zoning bylaw. The intent of the setback requirement is to limit activities in front of the dwelling, which may interfere with the road. However, given the significant setback, no issues would occur. All other provisions of Section 5.2 and 4.1 of the Township zoning bylaw are achieved or exceeded. Granting the variance will further allow for the development to remain in a focused area of the property, helping to preserve the rural character. The application is considered to uphold the general intent or purpose of the zoning bylaw. Under the policies of the PPS and the subject property, it's considered part of the rural area and more specifically rural lands. Permitted uses on rural lands include resource-based recreational uses such as recreational dwellings and associated accessory uses that maintain the rural character and can be sustained by rural service levels. Accessory uses are otherwise not specifically contemplated by the PPS policy. The application does not conflict with the policies of the PPS. Public and agency comments. We did circulate notice of the application in accordance with the Planning Act on August 14th, 2025. There was also a notice posted on the property directly. There have been no comments received either from agencies or members of the public on this application. The application appears to meet the 4 tests of a minor variance and is consistent with the policies of the PPS, and therefore it's recommended that application PLMV 2025-067 be approved, subject to the conditions outlined in the report.
I am.
Could you please state your name for the record and provide any additional information you'd like to present to us today?
Lisa Thompson, and as far as additional information, I think we filled out the application as best as we could, and from what we have found, it seems to be a location that works for us, and it certainly is more than 800 feet off of the front of Little Bob Lake Road, which is all trees. And currently, we can't see any neighbors or hear neighbors, so we feel like it's a good place to build. And it's already there, which stops us from cutting down extra trees and everywhere else to build it elsewhere. We're just trying to preserve nature as much as we can.
Okay, thank you for that. Are there any members of the public who would like to speak to this application? We will start with anyone attending electronic. We have no electronic people. Is there anyone else attending in person who wishes to speak to this application? Does not seem to be. Are there any questions or comments from the committee to the applicants, the planner, or any other persons who have made presentation? Very good. Are there any further questions or comments from the committee to the applicants, the planner, or persons who have made this presentations? Comments may also be reasons why the application may or may not be supported for the purposes of this decision. And if you will recall, Amanda does like to hear what we're thinking. Any thoughts or reasoning about this?
I think it's stated properly that the land was already cleared.
Microphone.
Sorry. I think Lisa stated properly that land was already cleared from the development. They are not going to change, any of the trees coming down, and they are a long walk from the road. So, and I think it's the appropriate place for the sleeping.
Any other thoughts to share? All right, Amanda, are you good?
Mhm.
As there are no further comments, the secretary treasurer approves the proposed condition.
Yes, through the chair. So there are 4 conditions outlined in the report. The first is that approval of the minor variance shall only relate to the proposed new sleeping cabin and construction of which would comply with all other applicable law. That construction shall proceed substantially in accordance with the plan submitted to the township on June 23rd and put before the committee today. And that a building permit be applied for within 12 months. And the last being that if any of the conditions are not met, that the application is otherwise considered refused. So just the standard conditions, nothing new or specific to this property. Correct.
Hearing the evidence before us, is the committee ready to make a decision? Yes. Would the secretary treasurer please read the resolution?
Moved by Henri Tall, seconded by Paul Radals. Whereas the Committee of Adjustment considered the oral submissions relating to application PLMV 2025-067 Thompson made at the hearing. And whereas it is the opinion of the committee that the relief granted maintains the general intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, is appropriate and desirable for the area and is minor in nature, and more specifically for the following reasons: that the land was already cleared for the main development and that the building is significantly set back from the road. Now therefore, it is the decision of the committee that application PLMV 2025-067 requesting relief from the requirements of bylaw 06-10 is amended to permit the following from section 4.1.13 subsection 4 to permit the proposed sleeping cabin to be located to the front of the principal dwelling be approved, subject to the following conditions: that approval of the minor variance shall only relate to the proposed new sleeping cabin, construction of which shall comply with all other applicable law. The construction shall proceed substantially in accordance with the plan submitted to the township on June 23rd, 2025, put before the committee on August 25th, 2025, and forming part of this decision. That the building permit, which is to remain in good standing, be applied for within 12 months of the approval of this application, following submission to the building department of the appropriate application, fees, and supporting information as required by the chief building official. And finally, that failing any part of the foregoing conditions, this application shall deem to be refused.
Will the secretary treasurer please advise the applicant that the public health is-
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. Having approved application PLMV 2025-067, notice of the decision will be sent out within 10 days of the signing of the decision and identifying a 20-day appeal period. It will also outline the conditions that were just read out. To be kept advised of an Ontario Land Tribunal hearing in the event of an appeal, members of the public must request a copy of the committee's decision on the application. If anyone from the public would like to receive a copy of the decision, they are asked to contact the planning department.
Thank you all. to be a public hearing for the application of PLMV 2025-076, located in Part Lot 24, Concession 9, Geographic Township of Minden. Would the planner please summarize the proposed variance and any correspondence received to date regarding the application?
Through the chair, the township is in receipt of minor variance application PLMV 2025-076, which was submitted by EcoView Consulting Services on behalf of property owner Angus Baldocci for 2216 Blairhampton Road. The property is currently developed with a dwelling and attached covered deck, as well as a concrete covered porch. The property owners are seeking permission to construct a one-story detached 362.4 square foot garage to be located in the front yard and closer to the road than the dwelling. The application requires the following relief from the township's zoning bylaw. From section 5.2 to permit a front yard setback of 5.8 meters to a detached garage, whereas a 15-meter setback is otherwise required. And from section 4.1.3A to permit the proposed garage to be located in the required front yard and closer to the street line than the principal building on the lot. Again, there are 4 tests that the application is subject to as outlined in the Planning Act. The first is the application minor in nature. Again, when assessing whether an application is minor, consideration is given to the potential impacts of the variances being requested. There is established mature vegetation throughout the property, as well as a steep slope that dominates the property, and this would provide visual buffering to neighboring lands. As well, no significant tree removal is anticipated. Although the garage will be closer to the front lot line than permitted, the location of Blairhampton Road does provide for further separation from the proposed building, and therefore no visual or sightline impacts are anticipated. No impact to the entrance within the township's road allowance would occur as a result of the application. The garage would also be set back far enough to allow for proper vehicle movement outside of the township road allowance. Therefore, the application is considered to be minor in nature. The second test is the application desirable for the appropriate development or use of the land, building, or structure. The application will enable the continued use and function of the property for rural residential uses and allow for the expanded accessory uses on the property. The steep terrain provides for additional challenges when finding a suitable development location with minimal impacts to the surrounding natural landscape and tree cover anticipated. Further, the cleared area surrounding the dwelling is already occupied by septic and well. Further setback to meet zoning regulations would result in the need for significant site alteration and tree removal. Given the foregoing, the application is found to be desirable for the appropriate development and use of land and the building. The third test is the application uphold the general intent and purpose of the official plan. The subject property is designated primarily rural, with just a small sliver northwest of the property being designated waterfront. The existing and proposed development, however, are located entirely within the rural designated lands. Policies of the rural designation encourage development to preserve the rural character and open natural landscape. Permitted uses in the rural designation do include a single detached dwelling along with accessory uses for residential use. There are no natural features noted on the property which would require consideration of setbacks. As noted, minimal site alteration is going to be required with the location, and the garage is intended to blend with the natural landscape of the property. The application is considered to uphold the general direction and purpose of the official plan. The final test is the application uphold the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. The subject property is zoned rural residential on Schedule 14 of the zoning bylaw. Accessory buildings, including garages, are permitted in the rural residential zone. The intent of the front lot line setback is to ensure that there are no sightline issues created or impacts to roadways. No impacts are therefore anticipated. Setbacks are also ensure that activities associated with accessory buildings are appropriately removed from roadways for public health and safety. And similarly, given the location of the road, the actual physical road from the property and the proposed garage, no impacts are anticipated. The application is considered to uphold the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. The application is also required to be consistent with the provincial planning statement. Under the policies of the PPS, the subject property is considered part of the rural area, and more specifically being rural lands. Permitted uses on rural lands include residential development that maintain the rural character and can be sustained by rural service levels. The application does not conflict with the policies of the PPS. There was notice circulated to neighboring landowners and commenting agencies in accordance with the Planning Act on August 14th, 2025, as well as a sign posted on the property. We've received no comments from members of the public or agencies. We did consult with the Director of Public Works, given the proximity to the township road allowance, who indicated having no concerns with the application, providing that there were no changes to the entrance proposed, which there would not be in this case. The application appears to meet the four tests of a minor variance and is consistent with the policies of the PPS. Therefore, it's recommended that application PLMV 2025-076 be approved, subject to the conditions outlined in the report.
Thank you. Is the applicant or property owner here today?
We're on video.
Okay, please state your name for the record and provide any additional information you would like to share with the committee.
Sure. I'm Angus Baldacci. This is my wife, Patricia Baldacci. Also on the call is our construction company, Stu Shedden from Turnkey Construction. He'll be able to answer any questions, concerns about the builds, and everything that Jody said is pretty much nailed on the head there. The garage is being built in the hill. It's the only option we have based on the landscape. So no other updates to add. And Stu, if you have any questions about the construction, please ask my peer and colleague, Turnkey Construction, Stu Shedden.
Okay, thank you for that. Are there any members of the public who would like to speak to this application? We'll start with anyone attending electronically. No one? Is there anyone attending in person who would like to speak? Don't see here. All right, are there any questions or comments from the committee to the applicants, the planner, or any persons who have made presentations? Okay, thank you. Are there any further questions or comments from the committee to the applicants, the planner, or the persons who have made presentations? Comments may also be reasons why the application may or may not be supported for the purposes of this decision. Keeping in mind that likes to hear what we think.
I support it because it's using the driveway. It looks like a really good place to build, lots of trees, not bothering anybody visually.
Yes.
I think it's a pretty unique build and it'll enhance the property.
Thank you. Are there anything else? Any other thoughts to be shared?
It's frozen.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they're frozen on my end too.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're back.
Yeah. Are they Stu? They're frozen. I'm gonna put it in. Yeah.
I thought we were frozen.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Hi, Stu.
Hi, Stu.
Morning.
Did they just kick you out?
No, you're still in. You're
Yeah, Stu, can you still hear us?
I can still hear you.
Okay.
Yeah. It's gotta be careful what we say here because
It's being recorded.
well, it's not because they're off now. The best part about this was make sure that your internet connection is solid before you start. Interesting. Don't tell me this is going to be a delay again.
Oh, it sounded like it was getting lots of support.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah.
sounded very positive, and I like the comment that it's a unique way to preserve, and yeah, so they see the intent and the benefit of it.
Mm-hmm.
Stu, are you happy today? You sound a little sad.
Well, I'm just minding my what I say in case.
Easy,
Yeah.
careful, like walking on thin ice, right?
Yeah.
All in. All right.
Get an email.
No,
And-
checking any emails, nothing.
Can you email Ben? Email, what's her name?
Donna.
Jody? Donna?
Try exiting and then coming back in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shouldn't take this
Okay,
long.
if that works.
I'm gonna try that.
Okay, try the same.
Okay, do that too. Okay, bye. Hello, Donna, can you hear us? Hello?
Yep, we're just trying to get back live.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was on your side, the internet, because Turnkey and I were fine. All good?
Okay, so through you, Mr. Chair, I will pick up back with going through the conditions. I think that's around when we lost connection. So as mentioned, the conditions recommended for this application are the standardized four conditions, nothing unusual. So the first just being that the minor variance is only for the one-story garage. The next, that construction is to proceed based on the plans that were submitted. Then also that the building permit is to be applied for within 12 months. And lastly, that if any of those conditions are not met, that the application is otherwise deemed to be refused.
Thank you.
So, okay, well, thank you very much. Sir, is there anything you need from
Sorry, we're still working. I'll read the resolution shortly and then we'll let you know
Okay.
the next steps. Just we're working through the process at the moment. Would you like me to read the resolution, Mr. Chair?
Yes, I'd love to read it.
Wonderful. I can do that for you. Moved by Jean Neville, seconded by John Agate, whereas the Committee of Adjustment considered the oral submissions relating to the application PLMV 2025-076 Baldocci made at the hearing. And whereas it is the opinion of the committee that the relief granted maintains the general intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, is appropriate and desirable for the area, and is minor in nature, and more specifically for the following reasons. That the development will use the driveway and preserve trees, that the development is on a unique property and the garage will improve the property use, and that there appear to be no reasonable alternative locations. Now, therefore, it is the decision of the committee that application PLMV 2025-076, requesting relief from the requirements of bylaw 06-10 is amended to permit the following. From section 5.2 to permit a front yard setback of 5.8 meters to a detached garage, whereas a 15-meter setback is otherwise required. And from section 4.1.3A to permit the proposed garage to be located in the required front yard and closer to the street line than the principal building on the lot, both be approved. Subject to the following conditions. That approval of the minor variance shall only relate to the proposed new one-story garage limited to 33.67 square meters and construction of which shall comply with all other applicable law. That construction shall proceed substantially in accordance with the plan submitted to the township on July 22nd, 2025, put before the committee on August 25th, 2025, and forming part of this decision. And that the building permit, which is to remain in good standing, be applied for within 12 months of the approval of this application, following submission to the building department of the appropriate application fees and supporting information as required by the chief building official. And that failing any part of the foregoing conditions, this application shall deem to be refused.
All right, thank you. All those in favor? That is carried. Would Secretary Treasurer please advise the applicant and the public of the next steps?
Through you, Mr. Chair, having approved application PLMV 2025-076, a notice of decision will be sent out within 10 days of signing of the decision, and which will identify a 20-day appeal period, as well as include all of the conditions that have been just read out. To be kept advised of an Ontario Land Tribunal hearing in the event of an appeal, members of the public must request a copy of the committee's decision on the application. And if anyone from the public would like to receive a copy of the decision, they are asked to please contact the planning department.
Thank you. I now declare the matter to be concluded. Good luck with your construction.
Thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time. This was wonderful. All the best. Ciao.
Is there any new business to discuss this meeting?
Leave.
Through you, Mr. Chair, none from me.
When is the next meeting?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I do have one application which is currently under review. So pending that review, tentatively, we'll have a meeting on September 29th, but I will confirm within the next coming week or so.
Would Secretary Treasurer please read the resolution to adjourn?
Moved by Paul Radals and seconded by John Agate. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment adjourn its meeting at 10:04 a.m. on August 25th, 2025.
All those in favor? That is carried. We're done for another session. Thank you so much for coming. And team for working through their issues.